A woman climbs out of a hot tub, kisses a guy, then her spine splits open into tentacles. That's this movie's whole thesis about sex, right there. Species opens with SETI, the real program that beams our DNA into space hoping somebody nice answers. Somebody answers. Spoiler, nobody nice. A government lab buried in Dugway, Utah, tastes the alien recipe and cooks it into a little girl. They name her Syl and keep her in a glass box. When she starts having nightmares that shake the room, the men decide she's too dangerous and pipe cyanide into her cell. She's maybe 12. That's the plan. Syl shatters the glass with her bare hands and walks out through the gas. Congratulations, gentlemen. You taught her the first thing she knows. Humans kill her. She hops a freight train in a nightgown, and the guys chasing her can't accept how far she got. Is she that fast? Yeah. She's that fast. A conductor punches her ticket and jokes about knocking a year off the fare, so she pays half price. He has no idea. He's the last person to be nice to her. Back at the lab, Xavier Fitch stares at what's left of her handiwork and admits the truth out loud. She is not a girl. Then he assembles a very strange team. Dan Smithson is an empath who gets called weird at work for feeling more than other people do. In any other movie, he'd be a joke. Here, he's the MVP. The rest, Harvard anthropologist Stephen Arden, molecular biologist Laura Baker, and Press Lennox, whose actual job title is basically government problem remover. He hunts people. Fitch explains the mess. In 1974, we sent the Arecibo message. In 1993, something answered with a free energy formula and instructions for splicing its DNA with ours. And because the first gift was useful, they assumed the senders were friendly. That's the dumbest logic in science fiction, and the entire plot hangs on it. They fertilized 100 eggs, kept one, and made a female because a woman would be, quote, more docile and controllable. Every man in that room deserves what's coming. Homo be show her aging into a 12-year-old in 3 months, thrashing in her sleep. Laura asks the decent question, you were going to kill her, weren't you? Press cuts through the jargon. You built a monster from a recipe you got from space, you lost it, and now you want us to clean it up for you. The train pulls into Los Angeles, and they find the conductor dead in his compartment, next to a giant crystalline cocoon she crawled out of. Which means the 12-year-old is gone. She's a grown woman now, and they've been circulating a photo of a child. She stays one body ahead of them. Fitch's read on Los Angeles is honestly the sharpest thing in the movie. Nobody knows anybody, nothing is taboo, whatever she does, nobody will notice. Perfect hunting ground. Laura grows a second creature in a sealed lab to find its weak spots. Bad idea. It hatches huge and comes straight through the reinforced door. Meanwhile, Syl, now Natasha Henstridge, and about 22 years old, is learning the city off a motel television. Hair dye ads, nightclubs. She's building a costume from commercials. Fitch locks Laura and Press inside and incinerates the lab with them still in it. Protocol, he says. Keep that in mind when you're deciding who the villain is. Syl asks a motel clerk where to find a man. She gets pointed at a nightclub around the corner. The entire second act, set in motion by a hospitality question. At the club, a woman crosses her in the restroom and ends up dead. Syl isn't cruel. She just has no concept of a person who isn't an obstacle. She leaves with a guy named Robbie, who cannot believe his luck. He drives her home, shows off the pool, pours the drinks. This guy has minutes to live. Then she changes her mind, and he doesn't take no for an answer. He shoves her down. She puts a spike through his skull. Honestly, hard to feel much. The team autopsies him and finds insulin. He was diabetic. She didn't reject him for being a creep. She rejected his genes. She's screening mates like an animal. Laura spells out the stakes. If Syl delivers a male, it matures in 6 months and starts breeding. Predator in a closed ecosystem, the weaker species goes extinct. She gets in a car wreck, and a nice guy named John Carey stops, pays her hospital bill with his own credit card, and doesn't even ask her name. Carey takes her up to his place in the hills. Fruit, cheese, hot tub, no neighbors for miles. He's decent, he's interested, and he's about to be a lab test. A doctor watches her shattered shoulder blade knit itself back together in real time, and that phone call is the breadcrumb that leads the team to Carey's house. In the water, she says it out loud, I want a baby. Then something about him doesn't pass her test, and he dies with her arms still around his neck. This is where the mask comes off. Human skin peels back into a glossy black thing with tentacles, designed by H.R. Geiger, still better than most modern CGI. She runs into the woods and finds a woman named Marlowe camping alone. Sil doesn't kill her right away. She takes her identity, her car, and keeps her breathing. Then she does something genuinely chilling. She sneaks back to Carrie's house and reads the team's lips through the window while they stand over the body discussing her. So she hears the plan. Tomorrow night, back to the club. The hunters just handed the prey their schedule and nobody ever works out how she knew. That night she dreams of the lab, strapped to a table, begging, "Please untie my hands, I wouldn't hurt you." It's the only time she asks anyone for anything. That's the movie's actual heart. Nobody ever told her what she is. She's running on instinct written by strangers across the galaxy, and everyone who could explain wants her dead. At the club, Dan feels her before he sees her, and she clocks him instantly. She walks out with Marlowe in the passenger seat and lets the team follow. The chase up Nichols Canyon is her plan, not theirs. She aims the car at a high-voltage transformer, leaves Marlowe strapped in, and jumps out at the last second. A burned body, a severed finger, a DNA match. Fitch declares the mission accomplished and tells everybody to go back to their lives. Press says it plainly, not that easy. They throw a hotel party to celebrate. Arden gets sad about being alone, and Press and Laura circle each other on the dance floor. Sil is in the same hotel. New haircut, new color, a Long Island iced tea in hand, watching Press across the bar because she dreamed about him and picked him. She kills a maid for the room keys. Then, since Press is unavailable, she settles for Arden, the lonely professor who cannot believe his night is going this well. They sleep together. She conceives on the spot, tells him she felt the exact moment, and the second he understands what she is, she kills him. Transaction complete. Dan wakes up screaming that she's here, she's with Arden, and this time nobody argues with the guy who feels things. They're already 48 minutes behind her. She goes through a steel fire door like it's cardboard, down through the parking garage, into the tunnels under Los Angeles, looking for somewhere to give birth. In the sewer, Press starts screaming at Dan to point a direction, and Dan just doesn't know. That's the scariest stretch of the film, and nothing even happens. The earthquake mentioned on the news earlier cracked open a cave under the tunnels. Oil running down the walls, no way out. She picked her nest well. Fitch climbs down to finish what he started, and she takes him apart in the dark. The man who wrote Docile and Controllable dies to the thing he wrote it about, and she's already given birth. A grown child, walking, tentacles out, reaching for Dan with something that almost looks like affection before it tries to eat him. Dan torches the kid with a flamethrower. Sil drags Laura toward the pit, Press puts a grenade through her head, and the whole cave goes up in burning oil. Then the movie leaves you with a rat chewing a piece of her tentacle in the rubble. It mutates, kills another rat, and the survivors walk away clueless. Species is a slasher wearing a science fiction coat, and it works because the monster is the only character with a clear goal. Everyone else is improvising badly.